business stage businesses that are advancing the SDGs to catalyze that SDG action. It's particularly exciting for us this time because it's 9 years to 2030 being made to 10 years is not a lot. So for us, it's quite exciting to be able to partner with government, to be able to partner with other Impact Hub and with business to do our part in accelerating SDGs. Within UNDP, you may know that the SDGs are a core part of our work, not just UNDP, but the UN as a whole. But for us, I think particularly so because for the past 21 years since the MDG era, quite exciting. We want here today because this session became apparent that let me know very really has to offer in terms of information, in terms of really what happens within government. So we thought it made sense to know that the African Continental Free Trade Area launched and started operating this year, 2021. Really interested in it. It's about with it and how they can tap into opportunities that are coming out of that. So part of this training, this 2021 cohort will also include the AFCFTA. I will not talk too much. My job is really just to welcome and thank you for joining us, particularly those who are joining online. I think there are more of you out there than there are here. Maybe go through the program quickly. The discussion will start with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Mrs. Mtetwa is online and she's ready to talk to us about the government role in AFCF. The Ministry of Labor and Social Welfare will also come in and talk about their role in advancing the SDGs. And then the Ministry of Women's Affairs, Small and Medium Development will then come in and talk about SME support. After that, we'll open it up online. Your questions, help you get them addressed. Please take advantage of this opportunity that we often get. And so please, while they are here, let's engage. And then after that, we'll get closing remarks from Impact Hub, and we will conclude. And I think because we waited so long, I was thrown off track a little bit. I forgot the protocols. So sorry. Let me go back a little bit. Acknowledge the presence of Chief Director Mtetwa, who is online on Zoom from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, from the Ministry of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare, as well as Ms. Kumrai Chikoya, Business Development Officer from the Ministry of Women's Affairs, Community, Small and ladies and gentlemen. So before I hand over to Ojijo Odhiambo, who unfortunately I'm sorry I forgot to introduce as well. He's the Senior Economic VP and he's in the discussion today. Ojijo.
Good morning, entrepreneurs, bureaucrats. Welcome to this session. We'll have opportunity to dialogue as entrepreneurs, dialogue with government, bureaucrats who are in charge of policy and planning, and a host of all other. For an entity as development, people, you need resources, you need institutions, and you need ideas. There could be many others like information that fall within all those things. Listening to your pitches during the onboarding session, I have no idea, no doubt in my mind that you are full of very innovative ideas. People. So today, I think the discussions will focus about with all these vibrant people, innovative ideas. How do we link this to resources and institutions? And I think that's what Ethel was talking about in terms of the support, the FCTA. So, as has been alluded, we'll have and honoring this invitation. I would like to give them 5 each initially. Tell us what, but focusing on what the government has for young entrepreneurs in Zimbabwe. Yeah, with the and how entrepreneurs in Zimbabwe can then take advantage of those opportunities and grow. As Ethel said, the idea of 2030 is to identify innovative their formative stages for these businesses until such a point that they are able to operate at scale. So without much further, allow me to invite the who is Chief Director in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Trade, Chief Director, Madam Beatrice Mutetwa, to make her statement focusing on the FCTA and other opportunities that are available to entrepreneurs. The floor. Maybe you're muted. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Now we can hear you, madam.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay. I think we are facing some challenges. But since you could hear me, I couldn't hear from what the others have spoken. Thank you for inviting us in and international trade. Specifically, we are responsible for negotiations on the Africa continental area. I will try to give background to the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. The Africa Free Trade Area was established after a decision which was taken by the summit, which is the presidents of the Union. The African Union Assembly launched the ACFTA negotiations at the 25th Ordinary Summit of Heads of State and Government on 15 June in Johannesburg, South Africa. The launch of the negotiations paved the way for the commencement of the first phase of the negotiations, focusing on trade in goods and services, which are negotiated currently. Within the broader framework of the Abuja Treaty, establishing the Africa Economic Community, the AFTA hopes to achieve a comprehensive and mutual beneficial trade agreement amongst member states of the African Union. The ACFTA is a flagship project of the AU blueprint, that is the Africa We Want agenda under Agenda 2063, which was during the Golden Jubilee in May 23. We did our principles adopted this principally to overcome dependency on exportation of primary products, to promote social and economic transformation for economic growth, industrialization, and sustainable development in line with Agenda 2063, as well as boosting intra-Africa trade. The objectives of the ACFTA are to create a freer market for goods and services, building upon the trade agreements within the regional economic communities and associated commitments, and thus pave the way for accelerating deeper integration within the continent. The ACFTA seeks to combine the economies of 55 African states under a Pan-African free trade area comprising 1.3 billion in a market with a combined GDP of US dollar 3.4 million, as well as to resolve the challenges of multiple and overlapping membership, as well as to expedite and continental integration processes. The agreement cover disciplines that will go beyond trade in goods and services to include investment, competition, and intellectual property rights. The agreement has protocols which are to the main text. This is the agreement in goods, agreement in services, and protocols on rules and procedures on the settlement of disputes. In addition, the protocol on goods covers the schedule of tariff concession, on rules of origin, customs cooperation, and administrative assistance, and on trade facilitation, an annex on non-tariff barriers, an annex on technical barriers to trade, an annex on sanitary measures, an annex on transit goods, and an annex on remedies and safeguard. Currently, right now, negotiations are taking place. This in Accra, Ghana. There is a hybrid meeting which is taking place for senior officials, where negotiations are taking place with those who are in West Africa as well as those who are participating virtually. Specifically, what the meetings are currently trying to do is to look at outstanding work that is on tariff offers and the rules of origin. The outstanding issues on rules of origin cover regulations on special economic zones, the rules of origins on fisheries, edible oil, sugar, textiles and clothing, and the automotive industry, as well as coming up with a manual on the operating guidelines on how member states are to trade amongst the ACFTA. Then in as far as the tariff concessions, members have not yet submitted their tariff offers, come up a concluded schedule concessions, that is a schedule to indicate the tariffs to which member states are supposed to exchange their goods. This is work in progress, And again, on the rules of origin, I think we've got about 86% which has been covered, such that, you know, member states are trying how best to come up with some compromise, rationalize the implementation of the trade agreement. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's no trading which is taking place within the ACFTA. There is trade already taking, building upon what we already have within the, you know, economic groupings that we are party to. And then in trade, in services, some offers have been made in transport, communication, financial, tourism services, and business services. Then there is some outstanding work coming up with some regulatory framework. Then in the next phase, negotiations have not yet started in investment, competition, intellectual property rights. This is work in progress, as well as work on e-commerce. Although right now, because of the COVID situation which we find ourselves in, most of our activities, as well as the trading, is already taking place using e-commerce. Is working to in line with already made. That is, we are supposed to come, which we have agreed on submissions which have at the present. You will note that we needed at least to comply with what we have already submitted within the COMESA, the regional group in which we are, number 2, as well as within SADC. So there is trading which is taking place, but then to come up with the modalities which we have, we need to build onto what we already have got. There are opportunities for our, traders within the AC. We are looking at the services sector, as well as looking at the bigger Africa trade market with a population of 1.3 billion, whereby we are looking at offering our services. There are opportunities in investment, in education, in the tourism sector, as well as riding on to boosting sort of the infrastructure networks which we are working on. We have got the Eastern Corridor, which is already operational. We have got a port in Namibia. Some facilities are being used to. So for our business people, there are opportunities to look beyond what already have, as well as building onto what we all have, as well as trying as much as possible to disseminate information on the opportunities that we already have got in place. Working with Zimtrade, there is implementation matrix which we already have. I hope that by the end of the month, the information would, although it has been uploaded on the website for Zimbabwe, are opportunities for us to tap into those areas where we in. We are looking at West Africa region as well as the North Africa. Some of the countries in Africa are trading within the COMESA like this year, but we would like to expand our export base. Also, as government, a number of steps have been taken in place to ease doing of business. This is done for our traders to tap into those markets which we already are not visible, and also to try as possible to the services sector. Zimbabwe has got so within the strategy which we with the assistance from the Economic Commission for Africa, as well as working with Zimtrade to disseminate as much as possible the information on market opportunities. We want to take advantage of whatever platform we have to disseminate information on the opportunities, mindful again of where we are coming from, as well as to try as much as possible to address the supply side constraints which we currently have been facing, since our industry is not as competitive as it is supposed to be, trying to improve the supply side constraints as to the foreign direct investment for sectors which the region we are an advanced economy, and the focus is on value addition, and we want to penetrate those areas, and on second-hand we have also set up institutions at the Tariff and Competition, which is looking at the trade remedies, that is, as well as instituting safeguard measures, because as we up, we need to have an opportunity whereby we cushion our industries against the surges in as far as imports are coming from third countries. Then we also have got initiatives under trade facilitation, where the ease of doing business, what is happening at the border areas, as well as streamlining the processing of documents. Then we have got initiatives again on addressing non-tariff measures, which form of import, in the form of being raised. There is a mechanism whereby the business community can raise with complaints that they face or challenges for the exporters or importers when they want to bring in goods, such that the issues raised would be addressed real time. So the non-tariff mechanism has been at the continental level. It was a project from the East Africa Community, SADC, and COMESA, the EAC, and it has been working very well, whereby we monitor the report aiming to eliminate non-tariff barriers. Then we have got again a system whereby payments, we hope, will be streamlined in as far as those who will be trading amongst the Africa continental free trading. At the present moment, there are a lot of initiatives which are by government, building onto what we within the SADC the COMESA, and the East Africa. So in a nutshell, there are opportunities within the ACFTA and also within the other agreements which we are party to. So as government, we expect that, all the stakeholders, who take part in these, in these activities, where they are in as far or the dissemination of information, we are as well as working with Zimtrade on how best we can assist our exporters to penetrate the FTA market, as well as address the challenges which are there. There are opportunities for everybody, and government facilitates, and if we expect, also the private sector to take an active role, and for the country to fully benefit from the we have signed to the government expects contributions from relevant governments, private sector, research, academia, institutions, parliamentarians, or other civil society, that they raise issues and let us know if there is anything that they would like us to take forward. We are available all the time to answer your queries and also to any other issues that have. So in just in summary, what we can say is that negotiations are ongoing on outstanding issues which you are which I alluded to, and also the fact that the implementation, yes, but some of the publications are not yet out in as far as the manual on how goods are going to be traded within the ACFTA, as well as the whole tariff schedule concession within the member states. Feel free to send messages or email us so that at least we can address some of the challenges that you might be facing. So thank you for inviting us to share this platform. Unfortunately, there are some technical hitches, but I hope that you could hear what I was trying to say. You can send in your messages, and then I can to some of the issues that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chief Director. I hope that you will stay online so that if after the next two presenters, there could be a few questions or a few issues of clarification that the people listening to you here to seek on. But thank you for honoring the invitation and taking what matters of events are, both at the continental level and at the national level, and especially the government of Zimbabwe is doing in terms of promoting trade. You did, and the trade remedies, and of course we fed into those negotiations with regards to copyright, what patents, trademarks, because these are very entrepreneurs. Let me second panelist, who is the director from the name Ngorima, my brother, from the Ministry of Labor and Social Welfare. Maybe Mr. Ngorima, you link some of the has talked about national level towards the realization of the past 2 years, but the economy bound in terms of growth, but also total challenges. What I think and as close as possible to the SDGs by 2030. Please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Let me start by thanking the conveners for such an excellent opportunity to keep the dialogue on sustainable development alive within the context of the limitations that COVID-19 has placed on us. And we are quite excited as a that this dialogue. Certainly, that part and parcel of commitment made to ensure that there is sustainable development and that we need in that regard. What's important to note is that Zimbabwe takes that very seriously, and that's why overall coordination of the Sustainable Development SDGs is located within the Office of the President and the Cabinet, because that is the seat of the executive, and it then becomes easy overall coordination because they have an overall mandate to supervise the work of. But mostly, there is very, let me say, the role of government therefore becomes four-pronged. Must be seen to be coordinating the implementation of SDGs, and that involves also the very important principle of no one behind, that this is not a government, and though government is the various stakeholders, society, businesses, and various groupings and various communities. Then the second pillar is policy alignment. Government create a conducive environment in terms of policy to ensure that SDGs are attained, but also SDGs financing, because you need resources for the SDGs to be implemented. Finally, SDGs implementation. Principal role, government has developed a coordination structure, like I indicated, domiciling the overall core in the Office of the President and Cabinet, but also in terms of the coordination, so that it becomes clear who's responsible. Where there are no mandates, it becomes very difficult for accountability. So we have the Ministry as coordinating ministry, by two other ministries, that is the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Agriculture. Of course, you know it has got a very long name, Ministry of Agriculture. And other structure steering committee, which including the civil society, sectors, and every for those that are in the SMEs to be part and parcel of that steering committee and contribute to the implementation in Zimbabwe. Know who their focal person is in their various ministries so that they can be able to channel their issues. We have also said for us to be able to understand where we are going, as you heard, we are in the decade of action. We are accelerating the implementation of SDGs because we have only about 9 years. An evaluation tool that requires what tool was developed through engagement of. So we would to be able to demonstrate how in terms of my country, you know, targets that are set, customize those in of our context. That monitoring evaluation be able that are through projects and initiatives that we are doing in various sectors, and then we are able to put that together and we monitor how far from the target. 2030 is not from us. Most importantly, I think the issue of aligning policies. Government has a role to ensure that we align policies, and this involves process engagement and everyone, so on what intend to achieve as a, but also more implementation through the various ministries and agencies. There must be national and sub-national programs that are aligned towards the of particular SDGs, and the government implements its various projects. I'm quite sure that to a particular SDG necessary to be able to assess where we are going. And there are quite a number of program initiatives that are being done by the various ministries. There are quite there are quite a initiatives that can contribute. Is this from Vuza, and you certainly know where you fit in. If you are in it, how can you become part of parcel of that we have the for our if you are how do you also generate employment? With the Minister, we have that of formalization, because most of our formal sector, for us to enable enterprises that they intend to build, let us graduate from the informal build-up towards the formal sector. I want to go to the part the implementation. I think business, yes, because access to finance, they can bring in quite a lot of offshore investments through partnerships that can also help us implement the SDGs. But I want us to move up from that narrative that sees profits to a narrative that looks at the responsibility of enterprises towards the wider society. To say, how do we make sure that the businesses are responsible for development? I am aware that entrepreneur can align that they see how they, importantly, have that interrogation to say, do this practice hinder the implementation of SDGs? In some way, of the SDGs, see how you can contribute to give development. It must be SDGs into their work. Your process, how does that the implementation of SDGs? Your general employment, how does that contribute to progression? Being in a changing environment, the innovation, so the agents of that sure that the country is on the path to attain SDGs. The reporting framework, the NWMs should be part and parcel of the result that we seek to achieve, because we want to leave no one behind. The small business component that you are undertaking must be integrated into the results framework that we have and see how to achieve this. But also, what it is that are necessary for the implementation of SDGs. Those skills and being able that is necessary of the SDGs. Responsible accounting does to the general public by appearing before the Parliament portfolio committees that interrogate us, and we say, part and parcel of, let us build within our nation on what course of action that we are doing for the implementation of the SDGs. I submit.
Thank you very much, Ngorima, for that. And indeed, no particular sector can do it alone. Government cannot do it alone. Neither can the sector do it alone. Neither can the neither can the communities groups. We towards the SDGs. Government provides. The private sector plays a critical role in the achievement of the SDGs, not just in terms of financing, but more so in terms of activities during this decade of action, identifying specific accelerators and listening to the ideas, business ideas that the participants here have, listen to them. They are really accelerators because they have identified specific niches, moved into those niches, and now trying to move them to a point where they are going to implement them at scale. That's the whole idea of SDG. And also, we also need to be involved in monitoring and look beyond the monitoring and evaluation and look at how we can get information about results with factor in information. They're doing a lot of useful things. How do we factor in those achievements into reporting and framework? My brother, let me just get the name right. Mr. Chikoya, the business development, women affairs, community, and medium enterprises development. And for you, Mr. Chikoya, I think the question begs answer is, yes, we have a lot of ideas here. How do we move to the point where there are ideas, where they are big, and what in terms of businesses that are willing to grow, that are desirous of growing to a level where they can contribute meaningfully, not just to themselves, the whole society, but to the government. And how does this then help us address the issues of the SDGs in the long run? Mr. Chair, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Odhiambo, and thank you very much to UNDP for inviting my ministry to be part of the discussion. UNDP that has spanned over the years. UNDP, as you're aware, assisted the ministry in reviewing the recently launched SME policy 2020 to 2024. And we've also been working with UNDP in some of the projects that we are implementing and supporting sustainable livelihoods in the districts of Binga, Nkai, Lupan, and Gokwe South. And coming back to discussion, I would like to thank the previous panelists for elaborating more on how small business add to what Mr. Ngorima SME as a very factor in contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals. Critically, goal number 1, goal number 2, goal number 5, and goal number 8. And if I emphasize on goal number 8, SMEs have been regarded to be critical in contributing to sustainable and inclusive growth, as well as employment and decent work. So there is a lot of work that SME has to play in order to contribute to the sustainable goals. So to be able to undertake that role, there is a lot of work and support that is needed to help them with the challenges that they are facing. We come in means to say there are so many challenges that the startups and the existing SMEs are facing. How do we help them to overcome the challenges? As they overcome those challenges, we know they are going to create employment, they are going to promote women empowerment, they are going to contribute to innovation. And as we do so, end of the day, we are contributing to Sustainable Development Goals. So as a ministry, we have given that mandate to say there has been an increase in the number of SMEs in Zimbabwe. And as we move around our town activities, for them to grow sustainably and contribute to SDGs, there is a lot of strategic partnerships, and I'm sure as a ministry, we've been partnering with the Ministry of Labor, with UNDP, to come up with a number of programs that provide support service to SMEs. To share with you programs implementing as a ministry to capacitate SMEs to become formalized, to become productive, growth-oriented in the same contributing to sustainable development. So one of the key programs in promoting entrepreneurship, as you are aware, it is said that entrepreneurship is inherent in all of us, but it needs to be cultivated, it needs to be nurtured. So as a ministry, we are providing entrepreneurship training through our provincial and district offices. So we are training women and upcoming and existing SMEs. So upon request, the ministry is ready to provide on-demand tailor-made to groups starting from 15 and 50 per group. So over give you the statistics, provided business management training, 500 of which 5% are women. This shows we are taking a lot of work to make sure that women in our programs, which is very key, especially when you are looking at sustainable goal of promoting gender. Key programs, we are also promoting market development and trade. So what our ministry facilitates participation of women in the SMEs at local, regional, international exhibitions such as the International Expos. And currently we are in the process of mobilizing SMEs who are producing or processing to participate or to exhibit their products. We are also mobilizing SMEs to also participate at the ZITF 2020, which was postponed due to COVID-19 restrictions. And then some of the expos that we are facilitating SMEs to participate include the South Africa in Cape Town, Lusaka Agricultural Show, Malawi in China. So market development is very important as SMEs start accessing their market profitable. As they become profitable, they are able to expand their business, employing more people. End of the day, contributing to the achievement of sustainable development goals. Then one of our key programs as well is we facilitate business linkages between SMEs and large enterprises. So we link SMEs to large corporates to supply of beans, vegetables, air vents, window sills, protecting clothing, uniform, catering service, detergents, and among others. So in terms of the statistics of what we have done in this business linkage program, we have facilitated 1,854 linkages in all provinces between SMEs and SMEs, as well as SMEs and large corporates in the sectors of manufacturing, agriculture, textile, retail, and with women 51%. And then moving on, I think as you ask most interested, what is one of the challenge that they face in implementing their business. They will tell you finance. So as a ministry, we have that mandate to get access to finance for SMEs. So we have got various facilities which I would encourage upcoming startups and existing enterprises to take advantage. This is one of the biggest opportunities as SMEs actually set aside to help startups and existing SMEs. So I'll go through some of the facilities that are and the first important one, funding that is disbursed medium enterprise development SMEDCO. In the past it used to be SEDCO, but it has changed its name. So SMEDCO, it facilitates funding for SMEs that seek to expand and grow their businesses. So they have products in their portfolio which include working capital, they've got group funding, they've got capital expenditure. So for those who want to access their products, this is located 170 Chinoi, and they've also other branches throughout all provinces in Zimbabwe. So in terms of statistics for what they've done to date, they've disbursed loans amounting to 150,236 projects as of the first half of this year. So there's a lot of funds being distributed through SEDCO. And then another facility that is available for SMEs and women entrepreneurs is through the Zimbabwe Women Microfinance Bank. Originally, this bank was established to facilitate or support women with financial products, but they've extended their service to SMEs. So they've got also similar products as to the ones that are being offered by SMEDCO Avenue. So in terms of what they have disbursed to date, 6,940 loans worth 62, which is 79% is going to women. So this is trying to encourage women to participate in entrepreneurship, which is in alignment with sustainable goal number 5 to enhance gender equality. Then we also have other products that are targeting women and community groups who do not have collateral. So we've got 2 funds under our ministry targeting women and community groups. The first one is the Women Development Fund. It was established as a means of addressing lack of collateral among women, interest being charged by banks. So this is disbursed to women at least through 3 groups who can come in to co-guarantee each other. So the maximum loans that are being given to each group is amounted to 300,000 Zimbabwean dollars. So over the past 6 months, we have disbursed 6 million to various groups engaged in various entrepreneurship activities. And then coming to Zimbabwe Community Development Fund, this fund was established as well to support community-initiated projects, especially those engaged in entrepreneurship. So it also comes in to support groups of more than 3 women who come in to co-guarantee each other. So there's no need for a collateral. So the maximum loans that are being given to these community groups is 300,000. So as of the first half of this year, we have disbursed 2,840,000 to projects that are in agribusiness, mining, tourism, agriculture. So we are also, with this Community Development Fund, we are also trying to integrate various community projects in entrepreneurship activities. They do so. They are contributing to employment creation. They are contributing to gender equality. End of the day, we are able to achieve the sustainable development goals. And then we have got a project where we try to facilitate access to workspace. As you know, most of our SMEs are operating in their backyards. They are operating in their houses. So as a ministry, we have that mandate. We are working, look into starting businesses, honey processing, and we have got a number of SMEs that are engaged in honey processing, especially in the rural areas where if you go to Hauna, you see a number of SMEs that are into honey processing. SMEs also consider venturing into drinking water filtration, confectionery, fruit juice and tomato puree extraction, soya milk extraction, edible oil extraction, and canning and drying of fruits and vegetables. So those are the opportunities that are available in food processing. SMEs can also consider opportunities in the horticulture sector where they produce vegetables, tomatoes, onions, and cabbages. I think we have got a number of groups and SMEs that we are supporting as a ministry that are engaged in horticulture. SMEs can also consider opportunities in green entrepreneurship. As I think Mr. Ngorima, you're aware that we've been supporting green entrepreneurship together with ILO, and we have had a number of SMEs coming up to venture into production of eco-friendly products, solar-dried products, recycling and upcycling of products. So there's a very huge SMEs to entrepreneurship. And then also opportunities in ICT and economics. I think this is what Impact Hub is all about, trying to help young entrepreneurs and women to take advantage of the digital economy. There are a lot of opportunities that have been opened up with the digital economy. So it's another area, especially for the young entrepreneurs to venture into. Moving on, there are also opportunities in paper processing projects, opportunities in wire processing projects. If you go, so you realize there are a lot of entrepreneurs that are surviving on wire making and metal fabrication. And then there are also opportunities that come with chemical manufacturing. The advent of the COVID-19, not only, it also created opportunities for entrepreneurs to produce masks and sanitizers. So there's a huge opportunity for SMEs to venture into chemical manufacturing. The textile industry also creates a lot of opportunities for upcoming entrepreneurs. There is manufacturing of uniforms, African attires, masks. There's a very huge potential for in that area. Then manufacturing of bags, handbags, shoes, and then arts and crafts, catering events, and managing, recycling and upcycling. So there are a lot of opportunities that are available for SMEs. In conclusion, I would like to say that for the SMEs to contribute to the sustainable development goals, there's really need for all of us to bring our resources, provide them the necessary or comprehensive business development to ensure they utilize the potential that they have. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my brother Chikoya, for that elaboration. In fact, just listening to your presentation, a number of things struck me, but let me just highlight two. One is the fact that for us to achieve inclusive growth, there is need to invest in small, in micro. The trickle-down model has failed in African countries. And we need a new economic model that focuses on people at the lowest level in terms of socio-economic well-being. We need to invest in the people. We need to invest in the assets that they have, their ideas and resources, and use that as a basis of growth.
Yes.
That's the only way we can get the benefit of growth across the whole society and not just benefiting a few. The other thing that I think is critically important is the fact that whenever I've been engaged in entrepreneurship development and promotion of entrepreneurship across the continent, yes, you can equip an entrepreneur with information and skills, this new knowledge. So the issue of financing becomes very, very critical. And maybe we want to discuss a little more on innovative ways of financing. I saw that you have where you have those who have collateral can be taken care of, but also those who don't have collateral. And a lot of startups don't have collateral. So they can have social collateral where they actually guarantee each other. I want to open the floor now for discussions. I hope that Madam Chief Director is still with us, and then we can have some dialogue around this. The way I propose is that we take 1, 2, 3, 4, and please try to direct your question to a particular panelist, but if you don't, then I'll also try to direct it to one particular panelist to help us discuss it. You can also provide suggestions and ideas, not just questions. So the floor is open. And for those who are joining online, Please, I think you have been told how to type in your questions, and you'll also pass those questions on to the panelists. The floor is open. Thank you very much. Who will take the first? I'm sure young entrepreneurs. Okay. Yes. Oh, yes, please go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Tafazo. I represent Upcycle Goromonzi. My question is directed to the Ministry of Women.
Could you also say what you do in 1 minute, 1 second?
Okay. Rubber tires, we manufacture patio and garden furniture that we sell at our store at Women's, and we also participate in exhibitions and online, our website and our Facebook page. Okay. My question is, our main challenge is for seed capital. I've also learned that we also need markets. I don't know how we can establish markets for like craft markets for ourselves. I don't know if we can get spaces that print out tables and have a craft. We can all together and help show that. Also, in terms of funding, I've understood that you guys are offering these loans, but I also see this as micro of scaling up businesses to get to they create that much impact. As I've seen a way of bridging this gap from us being small businesses to later growing, not the world, but the southern region. Something. Yeah, that's all.
So, two physical spaces where people can access you, but also the quantum of resources that's available if you want to operate at scale. Okay. Next is the gentleman at the back.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marvin Chizonga. I'm with Niftel Financial Ventures. We've got an insurance entity and also offer investment advisory services to a number of pension. Mouthful that I have. My first one is directed to Madam Chief Director. Beyond the facilitation of in house as makers behind after, then expect to creating routes to access markets in terms of maybe infrastructure. If you find it, sometimes you but it's not easy, maybe transport or to reach out to services. Then question, what else have they also done with respect to analyzing cooperative advantages within those member because sometimes in terms of support, maybe it's can a certain maybe from one as opposed to just trying to influence every like the free trade or free cross goods in various countries. So I think at this stage I don't
Other hand, or shall we take this for now? Any other hand? Do we have questions being typed in by those who are?
Yes, there are questions online. So Tofara Chokera says, is there an opportunity to export services, e.g. digital marketing and emerging technologies training, coaching and consultancy to other countries? And I think this is directed at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And the other question, Tich Nzingirai, he says, is there a plan to introduce a carbon trading platform in Zimbabwe?
I think most of the questions, before I come to you, let me come to the Chief Director, if she's online. Madam, I think there are four, maybe three. First is how to deal with the issue, the whole issue of the infrastructure deficit, which still bedevils regional integration in Africa. We might talk about regional integration, but if you can't access those markets, in the far-flung areas, then how do we overcome that? And I'm sure that within the Agenda 2063, one of the other flagship projects is to overcome this, but I'm sure you're best placed to explain that. The other one is comparative advantage in other African countries. How do we identify those and tap into those particular opportunities, those particular access, present? And the last one is about export of to other countries, like consultancies, insurance, and services. So, Madam Chief Director, before I come to my colleague, Mr.
There are initiatives. Yes, there is the infrastructure deficit, but there is a lot of work within the TIDA program, which is there to develop, as well as to develop connectivity issues. We are ongoing. We need to take our facilities is available at the present moment. In as far as the export of services, there are opportunities. Can to the Zimbabwe, portal under Zimtrade, or so that we direct you. There are opportunities as far as services are concerned. It's an area where Zimbabwe has got the negotiations, which we already are doing, the commitments, some of which we have already made. There is an area which we can ride on. Then, in as far as the identification of areas that got a competitive advantage. Yes, there is information on the portal, but then if there's any need of further issues, where to go and what needs to be done, and also the studies on the trade maps side, and also working trades. Another area which we need to work on is whatever you're producing is not as much. So we are trying to see how best we can aggregate our produce or whatever product we have, so that you can be, any entrepreneur can work with others to fulfill requirements of what certain specific markets are requiring, in as far as production of volume of the goods that be requested. I think I have opportunities for carbon trading. Yes, there are opportunities which we can explore, and is the limit out. Sort of identifies the area, links and guides could be taken. It's something which are alive at the present.
Director, I think, let me just add my own thoughts with regards to the last issue. I think we're a net carbon sink, because our level of carbon emissions are very low, and we have a lot of resources sequester carbon. So there's, I think, a large opportunity there, huge opportunity for carbon trading. And maybe we need, I think the question that was asked is, are there plans to have a platform where we can have carbon trading? Some of these things must be demonstrated empirically so that we have the facts and the figures. Because if you look at you're an important carbon sink. We cost a lot of carbon, and yet we produce. So can we trade the international market? This is an opportunity. And I think that some of the areas that are going forward, and maybe entrepreneurs here will tell us from this carbon trading that is all going on globally. And you also had two questions that were directed to you, Mr. Ngurima, for some words of wisdom overally, since he's got agenda.
my brother for the two valuable questions that he has raised. I want to reiterate and say that for issues workspace, it is very, very important that all those sectors that are experiencing challenges with workspace visit our ministry so that we're able to discuss more, looking into the challenges facing right now. So I'll really encourage my brother to have a discussion outside this part so that we can look more into the challenges that they are facing. And then the aspect of finance, I think the funding models that are available are trying to cut as segments of SMEs that we have. We have micro enterprises, small enterprises, and medium enterprises. And beyond the facilities that the ministries are offering, as you are aware, there was the financial inclusion strategy. It kind of lobbied institutions to also looking into facilitating funding. So beyond the facilities that are available, we have also other financial institutions that are offering loans to SMEs. So if you cannot fit within the purview that I've explained that are under our ministry, you can as well come to us, and then we can actually link you with the other financial institutions that are offering to SMEs. So government, it lobbied a number of financial institutions to open up windows for SMEs. As of now, we have a number of financial institutions that have established SME department funding for SMEs. So there are a number of financial institutions right now that can actually meet needs if you cannot fit within the purview that I have presented. So you should also consider financial institutions that are offering. We also have a number of venture capitalists that are available in Zimbabwe that can also look into the project needs that your business is experiencing. Are also to meet the various needs of SMEs that they have. Yes.
Your doors are open, and the spaces are not just physical, but also increasingly digital.
Yes,
I think if you get that. Mr. Ngorimo, please.
Thank you very much. I was going to request for the floor, given that people are shying away from asking me questions. But anyway, I'm excited by the issue of, and I think it's very clear. Let's not take markets as something which exists that we need to create them. We need to create them. And what it entails is that there must be deliberate initiatives. We have ZIDA, Zimbabwe Investment Development. They approve investments into Zimbabwe. And the question is, to what extent have we as entrepreneurs informed ZIDA about what we do, so that as they approve, there can be a cooperation clause within agreement to say, as you come into Zimbabwe and do business, a certain part of your work must be given to the SMEs. And these are the SMEs things. Some jurisdictions, if you set up a hotel, they'll be able to tell you your meat, your chickens, you don't import them from outside this area.
Yes.
Make sure that the local people that are there will provide 1, 2, 3. That's how you create. That's how you create. So let's not take it as if that they are there and we need to be facilitated. Let us create. Not exist. Engagement, dialogues with the relevant authorities. The issue of the workspaces, I think what I might want to point out is that all the issues that have been raised are contained in the National Development Strategy 1. Let us acquaint ourselves with NDS 1, able to face the relevant authorities that are NDS 1, because there's been that alignment. So you must be challenge the authorities, be it local government, to say, we have it here, you have to create spaces for the SMEs. How can we work together to fulfill that promise that you have in NDS1? And for me, that is the way we can be able to work together and have a mutually beneficial implementation of the aspirations of the entrepreneurs as well as the implementation of the SDGs. I submit.
Thank you. We'll take the last set of but let me start now with the colleagues who are online before I come to those who are here physically. Do we have any questions that you want to read out?
None that haven't been answered online.
None that haven't been answered. So let's start with the lady now. The two ladies, then the two gentlemen. Then I hope they wrap up, because I also see that arrangements for one of the most important are fast gaining praise, and it's a very important one. Yes, madam.
Thank you very much. I'm Tracy Mafumo. I'm the founder of Any Streets. We are into food manufacturing, and we source our ingredients from local small-scale farmers. Working with a group of rural women to develop a business for them. And training, how far do you go in terms of specializing that training or doing it? Are you able to even develop a constitution for a rural-based business? Yes, we actually hope that we'll be able to access the funding that you mentioned, but we want to do everything by the book.
Okay. The next is the lady.
Hello, my name is Sympathy Swanda, and I represent a company called Amantha. We're also into food manufacturing. We mainly deal with fighting malnutrition. My question to gentlemen, you have mentioned things which to me, some of them are new. I want to find out to online. Do you have online access all this? And also, when it comes to financing, can everybody probably apply online and then see if they're perfect fits, so that we avoid red tape coming to the and only come when it's necessary. Thank you.
Okay, and the gentleman in front.
Hi, my into value fruit and veg, but my question is, they mentioned more on getting finances as startups, but after getting finances, there's more to that. I'm just saying, as small, we still need that exposure out there, that marketing aspect, getting into the market, pushing the product into the market. There is an issue of exposure, or getting into Pick and Pay or okay. We don't have that is needed. How best can they help us?
Okay, for that, directly this question, so Impact Hub may want to say a little bit, one or two things to that question. One more question at the back.
My contribution is 3 parts. I know you know what that means. It's just one contribution in 3 parts. My name is Marvin Chizonga. With NIFTO, we can ensure your happiness at this workshop, the insurance guys. To Mr. Ngorima, you highlighted the need to make sure that, for the government to make sure that we've got a conducive. I think to buttress or points, need for the government to ensure that it expedites the number of reforms or structural issues that they are attending to sure that the environment is really conducive to startups, as well as making sure that there is policy consistency. If you have observed this year alone, we have had a lot of statutory instruments, to the extent that I think there's a time that we're having a statutory instrument every day, every week, which would affect or maybe change, make maybe a lot of startups, if they had a decent board, they'll need to hold at least one board meeting every week, just to attend or to respond to or to re-strategize in line with the statutory instruments. So there's need maybe for predictability for the startups, as well as even for the potential investors, both local and foreign, because if there's such too much uncertainty or inconsistency and unpredictability, it becomes hard for them to plan for their operations. Then the second suggestion, you highlighted the issue to do with maybe data collection and monitoring and evaluation. I don't know, I'm not trying to imply, but it appears that it's really a rigorous process. Wouldn't it be good to really make sure that maybe you enhance your digital capabilities such that you can do real-time monitoring that will limit maybe or reduce the time lag in terms of data collection, as well as even actioning on the data that you have actually received or collected. Then the last part of my contribution is directed towards the Ministry of Small to Medium Enterprises. SEDCO, a number of times, it has really played a key or a pivotal role in helping a lot of SMEs. But my suggestion or maybe kind of question is the vehicle or the whole SEDCO animal really open maybe to outside financing? Because at times it has fallen short.
This is depending on your location. And then we have a business development cooperative officer that will be able to assist you in the development of that constitution or the registration of the cooperative.
Thank you.
Okay. And then I'll come to my sister. She mentioned something about provision of online services for the funding projects that I've elaborated. I just want to inform you that for SMEDCO and the Zimbabwe Women Microfinance Banks, they have got websites that are currently running. You can actually look them on the internet, and you can actually see some of the services and the contact details for more information. And then in terms of the other funds that our ministry are administering, we still are using the physical offices, but I think with your contribution, I think we need to relook into that, realizing the changes that the COVID-19 pandemic has brought to the business operation. So thank you very much. We'll take that into consideration. And then I'll come to my brother. He was talking more about exposure. And I think one of the critical areas that we have seen in facilitating access to markets for SMEs is the issue of product quality and standards. So it's very, very difficult for most SMEs to access other markets because of poor product quality and maybe failure to meet the required standards, both locally and internationally. So as a ministry, I think we usually partner with the Standards Association of Zimbabwe to provide training to SMEs who intends to enhance their product competitiveness. And then in terms of exposure in local and international markets, I think I've elaborated that we have various programs to allow SMEs to exhibit at this local and international expo. So it's very, very important that you continuously engage with our ministries so that you understand more about some of the programs or expos that are available for you to expose your products. Over the years, I think we have helped a number of SMEs to access exhibition at ZITF, Harare Agriculture Show, China, Lusaka. So we have a number of programs to facilitate or help SMEs that wants to enhance exposure of their products and services. And then finally, I'll come to my brother. I think you've raised an important point about SMEDCO. But in terms of trying to enhance the level of funding that SMEDCO is providing to SMEs, government is in the process of recapitalizing SMEDCO to make sure that they increase the number of funding to SMEs. And also, I think there are plans that are underway that they are able to mobilize their own resources from outside partners. So it's something that is underway, and hopefully it will come into effect so that SEDCO can actually enhance its impact, especially in terms of supporting SMEs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ngorino.
Thank you very much. I just want to come in on a very fundamental issue raised by one of the participants there, that we are saying things that are getting to know for the first time. And for me, that's very important feedback, which speaks a lot about our advocacy. To what extent are we telling our stories on the implementation of SDGs to the people, for them to understand that they are part and parcel of that? And that calls for us to interrogate our advocates, and it's an opportunity for us to engage UNDP and see what we can do going forward to bring SDGs closer to the people. Create platforms for dialogue, for information exchange. They were not pitching up for more business for the Impact Hub, because this is a space for Impact Hub, and I know they can do more. So I think I value that contribution quite a lot. I want to say that we have reports that you can access. I understand it's there on our website now. The Zimbabwe SDGs progress report that tells you more about what we are doing in various sectors and what we have done. And also the Zimbabwe Voluntary National Report, which is a document which we gave to the world to showcase what Zimbabwe is doing in terms of the SDGs. They are just documents that can give you insights, what has been done, the Ministry of SMEs, what has been done, are we on track, how far are we going, what are our priorities. It's been taken home on how do we make sure that our people have more access to information on what is happening. That the issue of conducive environment is very valid, and I'm sure that's why the chief director had pointed out to initiatives on ease of doing business, that the reforms that government is doing. But fundamentally, the issue of policy consistency, I do that, because within the context of the social dialogue that we have employers, business, and government within the auspices of the tripartite negotiating forum, we have realized that the issue of policy inconsistency is one of the that is related to making the country risk factor very high. People put a premium in doing business with our country because of this issue of policy consistency, and that's why there has been the adoption of the whole of government approach, so that we work together and make sure that all our policies speak together, are aligned to each other, and they work for one particular goal. But of course, in some instances, we must accept in unprecedented times that have been put by COVID-19 and other global, and sometimes there might be need for government within that policy space to initiate certain other. We are open to engagement and seeing that we correct each other. And then the issue of online and digital capability of evaluation, I think is point taken, as each and every ministry is required to have that online provision of services to its clients, and they are slowly moving towards that. But fundamentally, the issue of are we availing the necessary tools of trade for our people in the various ministries and other stakeholders? The issue of connectivity and what for. Those are issues that we need to address, and we certainly feedbacks from our stakeholders so that we enrich the implementation processes. I submit.
Thank you, Madam Chief Director, for final and guidance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ojijo. We do appreciate the sentiments and comments which have been, which have been brought before in this discussion. uh, as enshrined in our the National Development Strategy 1, which we are implementing and also focusing on leaving nobody behind, as as alluded in the SDGs. We do welcome any ideas and suggestions, and also as one of our stakeholders, we take these engagements very seriously. Take note of some of the sentiments which have been raised on policy inconsistency. I'm sure if you could see, the efforts which government is doing at the present moment is to stabilize the macroeconomic value at the recent monetary policy statement which was given. Is our effort definitely is to make the environment predictable, to be able to attract necessary FDIs, and also making it easy for us here who operate to have some predictability for planning, as well as in the negotiations which we are having, both from the tripartite, from labor, social. So as in the NDSI, commitments which we have made, and also aligning to the SDGs, we are working practically, and we have taken note of, the sentiments which. Then right now, I'm sure everybody is quite aware. We are working towards, aiming rather. We are not yet there in as far as digital marketing or anything to do with the e-commerce, mindful of the constraints which we have as far as the infrastructure, gaps which are there. But we are working, and also to state that, within the portal which we have on the Zimtrade portal, we have got to all the, what needs to be done, which are there to market this is your goods, and what needs to be done when you want to penetrate a certain market, or you want to go to a trade fair. Zim got an opportunity to trade your products before for market, because mindful we are already a village, and you need to see how best market to how present even our products. So I would like to thank, and also feel free. So government is there to facilitate, and then it's up to entrepreneurs to take advantage of the opportunity and the facilities to be negotiated by government to take. We have the focal points. Yes, labor is there. The Minister of Women's Affairs, they've got their, which they are looking at the SMEs, aiming again to formalize the whole economy. So I would like to thank you, and we are open to suggestions which you might have as the entrepreneur achieve the upper need as the NDSI. We do everything collectively, and then able to nobody behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chief Director. Those final reflections and thoughts going forward. I also wish to thank the two other for joining us this morning and afternoon. Thank you for the very robust discussions that we have had. You agree with me that if I sort of summarize what we have discussed, probably it will take another 30-40 minutes, by which time we'll have really, I just want to thank you for your coming, those who are here in person and those who are online, for the very robust discussions. The priority is key, not just to growth, but also to the attainment of the SDG. And there's a need to bring the private sector to the negotiation table, to engage the private sector and meaningful role insofar as growth and sustainable development is concerned. Marks, allow me for further guidance as we move back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ojijo, and wow, it's been with me. It's been a very rich discussion this morning that we've had. A very good use of time, I would think, and you know, naturally it just comes out. I was about to say, to start thanking everybody. I'm not the one who's got that job. Let me stop here, but please know that I am grateful for your participation this morning. My online, Mr. Morima, Mr. Chikoya, we really do appreciate Mr. Ojijo, who's amazing very much. But if I can just say, I was really glad to hear mention of Zimtrade, because one of the other things we've added this year is with Zimtrade, where they'll talk about export competitiveness issues as well, just so that to make sure everybody is on board and really understands when we're talking about the AFCFTA, so you can be equipped to be able to exploit those opportunities that are. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Tadzoka, who will give us the closing remarks and vote.
Okay, all protocols observed. Thank you so much to our esteemed panel. Thank you, Government